Rambo Last Blood hit the theaters last week, and it has drawn out the soy-infused rage of the buffoons over at Rotten Tomatoes. They drew first blood. If you're unfamiliar with who the fictional character John Rambo is, played by Sylvester Stallone, he's a Vietnam War vet, Special Forces, who suffers from PTSD. He always seems to find himself on one battlefield or another. Indeed, Rambo is more comfortable in the theater of war than he is in a normal society. In First Blood, he takes on the police and the Army Reserves. In First Blood Part 2, he takes on the Soviets and the Vietnamese. In Rambo 3, he takes on the Soviet Army. And in Rambo 2008, he takes on the Burmese Army. He's a one-man war machine, a force of nature, toxic masculinity at its finest. Basically, you don't fuck with Rambo. My personal favorite is Last Blood Part 2. It is so iconic, and its portrayal of Rambo is what first comes to my mind when I think of Rambo. There's guns, bows, explosive arrows, rocket launchers, hind Ds, tanks, the works. Plus, it has a hot Asian waifu. Waifu alert! In Rambo Last Blood, the latest film in the series, we finally see Rambo at peace. He lives on a ranch in Arizona with a family he never thought he'd have, in the form of his niece, Gabriella, and her grandmother, Maria. John raised Gabriella, who is about to go off to college, when she gets a call from Giselle, an old friend in Mexico who knows the whereabouts of Gabriella's father, Miguel. Rambo warns Gabriella not to investigate, but being young and needing answers, Gabriella drives to Mexico and confronts her father. Her father outright rejects her. Giselle takes advantage of Gabriella's depressed and confused state, and the two go to a nightclub where Gabriella is drugged and sold off to the Mexican cartel, led by the brothers Victor and Hugo Martinez. This, of course, doesn't go over well with Rambo, and violence ensues. Spoiler alert at this point. I do recommend Last Blood. Absolutely. It was a pure joy to watch from beginning to end. Go see it. If you do want to see it and you don't want to be spoiled, leave this video now. You've been warned. The first part of the movie is similar to the movie Taken. A daughter-type character is kidnapped in a foreign country, and the father figure happens to be a badass warrior who leaps to action to save his loved one. Cool. The daughter-type character, Gabriella in this case, who is extremely likable, should be rescued by the end. Right? Right? Wrong. In fact, halfway through the movie, after being drugged constantly, assaulted, and raped, Gabriella succumbs to her injuries and dies. It's absolutely tragic. After burying Gabriella, Maria says that she will be sad until the day she dies, that she feels as if her heart was torn out. Rambo, talking to Carmen, his ally in the battle against the Martinez brothers, says the following quote, "I want revenge. I want them to know that death is coming, and there is nothing they can do to stop it." Now that is just plain bloody epic. Rambo launches a war of extreme violence in true Rambo fashion against the cartels, but the whole time I expected this to be his last fight. He has lost everything at this point. After avenging Gabriella, what is left? He lures the cartel to his booby-trapped ranch, where he alone takes them out one by one. He's dug out a series of tunnels underneath his property, And he has all sorts of nice little goodies for them. He's got crossbows, standard bows, arrows, giant metal spikes. He's got a goddamn claymore mine down in there. It is fucking epic to the max. He's injured, however, in this sequence. And I thought, this is it. This is where we lose Rambo. But no, after he rips the heart from Hugo's chest, Rambo sits in a rocking chair on his front porch, and there is an internal monologue about how this is the only home he has ever had and that he will keep fighting for it forever. Even when it's all gone, even if it seems like there is no purpose, do you still go on fighting? And that question is what I took away from the movie, and I've been thinking about it ever since. I feel like the Rambo series has come full circle. In First Blood, Rambo is the other, the unknown, the agent of chaos who stumbles into a realm of order and cannot coexist. In Last Blood, Rambo is order, the father, the normality that is invaded by the outlier. Of course, one of the biggest draws to this movie is Sylvester Stallone's performance. It is majestic. His performance is the stuff of legends. And he seems even more badass in his old age. One thing I did find confusing about the movie was the relationship between Victor and Hugo. When Rambo first encounters them, Hugo seems to be in charge. He ignores his brother's advice to kill Rambo because Hugo wants Rambo to live, knowing that they will torture Gabriella. Later, after Rambo rescues Gabriella, Victor scolds Hugo for not listening to him, and in this scene, Hugo appears to be the beta. I will say this about the brothers, though they are the worst of the worst, they share a family bond and have a love for each other. So there is a speck of humanity. And I give Hugo props for getting down and dirty himself when he and his boys go after Rambo. He doesn't just sit in the rear. Ultimately, Rambo Last Blood serves as one of the last movies of a dying genre, a genre that had guts, excitement, and brooding philosophy. What does the future hold for Rambo? Stallone is getting old and said himself, this is it. This is the last time he will do a Rambo movie. There has been talk about a prequel series about John in Vietnam, but to me, Stallone will always be Rambo. John's still kicking, and there could be more to come. I sure as hell hope there is, and I'd gladly sit my ass in a theater to watch Last Blood Part 2. So, what about all those terrible reviews? I don't know. What do we do, Johnny? Fuck 'em.